welcome to week 14 of the high school football season, Mirror TV. This is our Thanksgiving edition, even though we don't have really any Thanksgiving decorations. I'm Scott Franco, again here with the Mirror beat writer for high school football, Mike Boytim. We are down to 3 games from teams in our area, 2 right in the area and State College on the outside. Our first game we're going to look at is a PIAA Class 5A quarterfinal, Hollidaysburg versus Archbishop Wood, which is out of Philadelphia. That game is Friday at Milton Hershey High School at 2 p.m. Mike, this is going to be a really tall task for the Golden Tigers. What have you heard about Archbishop Wood and what awaits Hollidaysburg this week?
Well, they've lost. The good news is they've lost 3 games this year.
The bad news is it's been to the Eagles, the Cowboys, and the Giants now.
They've lost to 2 teams from New Jersey and another really good team. And the 3 losses is actually the most they've had in a season since 2012, where they lost in the state championship game to Cathedral Prep back when they were 3A. But the Philadelphia Catholic League champions just destroyed Simon Gratz last week.
It's like 50-7 or something like that.
And, but Hollidaysburg's coming off a shutout in the first round of the state playoffs, and they have kids that are just feeling really confident. Hollidaysburg's playing their best football right now. I mean, you've seen Hollidaysburg a lot this year. They've played good defense the whole year. They've had chances to win some of these big games, but they've had a bad turnover here or there. They have not been making those turnovers lately. They've been able to keep control of the ball, and it's making them into a really good team.
And I did a Google search because I was curious how many of these Archbishop Wood kids have played in the NFL, because I've heard stories about them. And the good news is for Hollidaysburg fans that not a lot of these kids have gone on to the NFL and had big careers, but still like Mike said, I saw some of the scores of the games they beat people. I know on Sunday, Homer Delatre spoke at our junior high football banquet at Hollidaysburg, and I introduced him, and I said they're playing Archbishop Wood on Friday, and I said they're like a really, really, really good Bishop Guilfoyle team with a lot of stars, and Homer kind of laughed and goes, well, geez, you don't sound too confident about us. And I thought, I just think it's a really tall task. But you know what? Maybe they play that underdog role to the hilt here, and it'd be great for the area if they could pull that out. But boy, that's going to be a monumental task. Our next game is, and the game we were joking about because of how long the District 6 playoffs are still going on here, Thanksgiving weekend, the District 6 1A championship. United, which I believe I'm looking at, is that a 9 or is that a 5? They're the 5 seed, and Juniata Valley, the number 2 seed. What kind of game are you expecting for this one? Friday night, Mansion Park, 7 o'clock.
Well, you know what? You were talking about the monumental task for Hollidaysburg to beat Archbishop Wood. A lot of teams say nobody thought we could win this game. That's not always true. Sometimes we do think that these teams, but last week when Juniata Valley knocked off Bishop Guilfoyle, that was a shocker.
Because I texted you the score, I think, and you were like, wow.
I mean, Juniata Valley's a great team. They have great senior players, but they called us right on that one. No one picked it, and that was a huge win. Now, that can't be the biggest game of your season, though. How do you win that game and then reconcentrate? Because United is a hot team. They've won a lot of games. They just turned around. They had lost to Northern Cambria earlier in the season, then came back and beat them in overtime, avenged a loss. They've won a ton of games in a row. How do you reconcentrate? And you haven't won the district championship yet. You got to still get through United. Do you think that'll be a challenge for these kids?
Big time, because now United is Juniata Valley. Juniata Valley is now BG. United's sitting there going, hey, you're the one everybody thinks is going to win. Nobody thinks we're going to win. Heck, I thought United was a number 9 seed. But I'm telling you, the Juniata Valley, I talked to Jim Lane, who covered that game, and I know you've seen him already. This Sinoble kid is fantastic. He lines up at safety. He's huge. He's well over 6 feet tall. But Jim said there were times where he was lining up at linebacker. There were times where he was coming after the quarterback. I mean, this kid sounds like a stud athlete, and I think if they end up winning, I got to think he's going to have something to say about it in the end.
And he has over 1,000 yards rushing now. He has over 1,300 yards passing, and the other big thing of note last week in that game was Juniata Valley got Cameron Collins back. He had been out for most of the season with an injury. He's a really good basketball player, but he's also a threat as a receiver and as a defensive back for the Hornets. And that's just another weapon for Zenoble to throw to, along with Kyle DeRugian and Grant Musser.
Our last game we're going to talk about is State College, still rolling through the 6A playoffs here. They're playing Pine Richland, which is the big team out of the Whitfield. The one thing I can tell about Pine Richland is that's where Neil Walker, former Pirate great, played at. He was a running back at Pine Richland. State College, pretty much the same weapons they've had all year. What have you heard about Pine Richland? What have you heard about the chances for State College in this game?
Well, last year these two teams played at this level, and it didn't go well for State College. They lost 49-21. But, this year State College has been really good. Last year they barely got past Delaware Valley. This year they crushed Delaware Valley. And it's just, Saturday, if you watch the Penn State game at 3:30 against Maryland and you want something to do in the evening, go out to Mansion Park and check this team out, because there's some players that are on State College who are going to be on Penn State in the future. And it should be an exciting game and high-quality football.
And get your tickets early, because I understand tickets at the PIAA playoff games now are like $8. If you buy them in advance, they're $6, and unless you can afford that, but who knows. That about wraps it up. We don't know if we're going to be back next week. If Hollidaysburg and Juniata Valley both win, we probably will. If one wins, we don't know if we have it in our budget yet to do a show for just one game. But if not, we've had a great time doing this. We hope we get to do this again next year. For Mike Boytim, for our executive producer, Neil Rudell, for our director, Pat Waxmonski, who's behind the camera, he doesn't want to come out in front of it. Thanks for watching Mirror TV. The high school football season is here. Happy Thanksgiving.